COVID, of course, was something that no one anticipated. I remember walking out of the office February 24th of 2020, thinking we'd be back in the office in 2 weeks, 2 years later, right? Before COVID, ADR was gaining in popularity. There's no question about that. What COVID has done to the ADR practice, I think it has accelerated what was already happening. And what I mean by that is ADR was already becoming more and more an option, but because of the fact that it became almost impossible to get a case tried, with this backlog of cases, the only option for closure, other than parties talking amongst themselves, was ADR. So as we emerge from COVID, I suspect we're going to find that ADR has become, if not equal to a litigated outcome, certainly closer to an equality with litigated outcomes. So said this way, pre-COVID, if you're picturing a highway with the destination jury trial, before COVID, an off-ramp was ADR, and the attorney would decide whether they wanted to take that off-ramp or not. This might be a bit of an overstatement, but I think it's increasingly becoming where ADR is the destination and litigation has become the off-ramp. So it's growing exponentially in terms of popularity. We keep internal data, and we have internal data on the preference, at least of Miles customers, for when to use virtual, when to use hybrid, and when to use all in person. And what we found is it's almost always dependent on the value of the case. So cases that are settling for under $50,000, there's a huge preference for all virtual. Cases that are settling or have a settlement amount, and by the way, we look at that, what a case resolves for at mediation or last offer, okay? So cases that are in that $100,000 to $500,000 range, it's a clear preference for hybrid and or in person on the order of about 65, 75% prefer the in-person hybrid. Anything over 500,000, it's in the high 80s, low 90s% of people who want to have that face-to-face in-person interaction. I believe that the reason that value is so important in the decision for in-person versus virtual is because not always, but most times the more the value of the case, that is what it will settle for, is directly related to the impact that has had on someone's life. So if you have suffered injury or someone you know and love has had a very significant injury, that's changed the trajectory of your life. A lot has been bottled up over a long period of time, and people want to tell their story, or at maybe more to the point, they want to be able to sit across the table from the person who has caused this injury and express themselves. Can that happen virtually? Yes. I mean, I think that I didn't even know what Zoom was prior to the pandemic. And I think that my neutrals here at Miles are expert with that medium. But in all candor, I don't think anything, for something that really matters, substitutes for looking someone else in the eye in person and being able to be given the opportunity to express yourself.